Alright guys, welcome back for another video on HAIKYU Fly High. And today in this video, I'm gonna try to do two things. Number one, I'm gonna remind you guys that the match streak reward for the time limited match streak is about to reset in just 2 days and a half. So definitely make sure you are able to complete all of those stages to get all of the rewards, because the rewards, they are definitely very nice. You get some gems and also this currency which you can exchange for milk, which like I said, is the universal dupe. So it's very important for you to progress as far as possible to pick up all of those rewards. Now, in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically in the match streak section, I think after you beat stage 12 in the regular mode, you will then be able to unlock the time limited mode, which is only going to last for 2 weeks. And therefore, it's very important that you complete all of this before it actually resets. So that's what I'm going to try to remind you guys today. And also, obviously, the second half of the video, I will actually be talking about how to actually form 2 teams in order to beat all of those stages. Now, for any kind of match streak, I think there are 2 things you need to bear in mind. Number one, there tends to be some kind of buff, which is going to be very important. And for this time around, the buff is that whenever any player on your side casts a critical power spike, then you are actually able to recover 5 stamina. So first of all, that will tell you should try to go for power spikers here, just so that you can actually recover stamina and you don't need to worry about backup. Because sometimes it's hard enough just to form 2 teams and you don't really want to worry about the backup situation. Now the second half kind of just helps you to get that extra stamina, because whenever anyone casts a set skill on your side, you will be increasing of your awareness by 25%. And obviously higher awareness means higher crit rate, and therefore you are going to recover your stamina. So that's kind of the number one thing you want to bear in mind. Then the number 2 thing, I don't know whether this is like a rule, like a fixed rule, but it's at least something I found from my own experience, both playing on global and also on Taiwan server, is that for match streak, as long as your team rating is higher than the opponent team rating, you are more or less guaranteed to win. Now you can beat it with a lower team rating. That's definitely possible. I have done it before. However, if it's higher, it's almost guaranteed. Like even if you're like trailing behind by 2 or 3 points, it will just magically make sure you win at the end. That's just a rule I found so far. Do let me know if you found something slightly different and it didn't work for you. But I need from my own experience on both servers, that seems to be the way. And as a result, all you need to do when trying to build 2 teams is that you don't actually need to worry too much about team synergy. Simply spread your characters across evenly so that both of them are actually higher than the opponent team rating. And that's going to be enough. So let me show you my team. Obviously my first team is going to be very much dominated by Yushijima, and because he carries so much my power rating, you can see here I literally only have 4 of my first team characters, and everyone else is literally all at level 18, level 20, level 14. I didn't even bother raising them at all. They are only leveled up because I was trying to do them for the honor missions, and that's about it. So you don't need to worry about that, and this was enough for me to get over the line over the opponent team rating, so I was fine there. And then for team 2, this is pretty much the remaining of my first team, plus my backup options. So once again, you can see even though I have a lot of SSR here, some of the SSR, for example, this one, is my second opposite hitter, obviously after Yushijima. That's kind of why I didn't really bother leveling him up very highly. He's only at level 3-star, level 27, because he's normally on the bench anyway, but that's fine. And same thing for my mid blocker here as well. All you need to do is just have him at about like 3-star, level 40. Anything higher than that, you actually don't waste up a lot of experience, so it's probably not worth it. But just having him at that is already enough to give you a bit of a tiny extra power boost to help you to get that team rating over the line. Some other minor adjustment you can also make is obviously swap around your memories, swap around your potentials. Once again, just to spread your team rating evenly across the 2. You don't need to be much higher than the opponent, like you can see here. I am only 149 team rating higher than the opponent, and that was enough to guarantee the win. So just try to spread around your resources a tiny bit to make sure both of your teams are over the opponent, and that's fine. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about, and just a couple of tips, is that in case you do actually need to level up some backup options, or just maybe level up higher than 3-star, just so that you can get that team rating over the line, what are going to be some of the good options? Now, number one, if you do happen to have any spare SSR lying around, obviously level them up, because SSR is always going to have higher team rating than the SR counterpart, so always do that first. However, if you do actually need to pick up some SR options, the best character for you to consider is actually going to be the one, if you actually go to Bond, it's going to be whichever ones which actually have a bond with other SSR characters. Now, the reason for this is, for those of you guys who don't know, there are actually two different type of bonds in this game. There's other ones which, for example, this one here at the bottom corner, it says deployment bond, and then there's also some bonds which doesn't say that. When you have a deployment bond, that basically means both of the characters need to be on the field at the same time. So for example, if you sub one of them out, this bond won't be activated anymore. However, for any bond which doesn't say deployment bond, that is actually permanent and it's also passive. So you don't even need to play the characters on the field. Simply by having them in the box, it's already able to give you that extra bit of a buff. And as you can see, all of the buff is actually going to be determined by your star rating. So for example here, well, first of all, I don't have this character, so that's why it's only at level 1. But even if I have Hinata, because my other character, this SR character, is only at 2 star, it's only going to be level 1. However, if I can get both of them to 6 star, it'll be at level 5. So as you can see, if I show you this one was Tanaka and also Nishinoya, both of them are 5 star, therefore I'm able to raise the level 4 level of this passive bond. Actually, no, this one's not passive, but it's the same thing. You level up both passive bond and also deployment bond in the same way by basically higher star rating on both of your characters. So as a result, if you actually train up one of your SR characters, which are for the purpose of bonds, not only you're able to make sure you can get your team rating up on your second team, because you don't have to have those characters at 4 star or maybe even 5 star, depending on how much extra power you need. So first of all, we are able to help you to actually get your match streak and get all of those rewards. And second of all, it's not even going to be wasted because it will eventually increase the passive bonus for your SSR character. So as a result, it's a good investment in comparison to other SSR characters who you are never going to touch and doesn't offer anything extra for your first team. So those are going to be my highest recommendation if you do actually need to train up some bench players. Now, what are the good options? I'm just going to outline a few. So for example, this Nekama mid blocker, you are actually able to passively increase the SSR version of Hinata. And the SSR version of Hinata is actually quite nice if you actually pair him up with UR version Kageyama in the future. So that's kind of why this is actually a good bond for you guys to have. Another good option, there are actually quite a few Nekama ones. Enoshita is a really good option because Enoshita is actually able to get this buff with other second years. This is a passive buff, so that's kind of why it's actually quite good to raise Enoshita up further. Another Karasuno character which is good is obviously going to be Yamaguchi. In fact, he's actually first team worthy, so definitely get him up as well. And then the other one you can also consider is obviously Sugawara as well, because he's actually going to be a very nice as a setter, especially for your second team. So those are the Karasuno characters. Then for Nekama, like I said, you have this SR mid blocker. Another one is going to be Yamamoto. He's actually really useful in the guild contest as well for higher team rating, for higher team score, because he can actually restore stamina, and also he has his passive bond with Tanaka, so this is also going to be very nice. Other Joes doesn't really have any worthy SR, so you can skip them. Date tag, if you actually go in for date tag, then this one is not a bad character. I'll actually mention him in my date tag team recommendation as well, so you can also raise him. This is not a passive bond, this is actually a deployment bond. However, if you're going for a full date tag team, he is one of your main players as well.